Today I wanted to talk about two topics, and they fit together rather well. The first topic is the fine line between spirituality and madness. And the second, when it comes to spiritual practice, relax, go slow, be gentle with yourself. Because when you're harsh with yourself and you practice too hard, you get too tight, and all kinds of visions and Kundalini experiences happen that don't happen if you go slow, gently, and easily. So be kind to yourself. Robert used to say that there's a fine line between enlightenment and madness. It's so true. You see, when we're in spirituality, what we're doing is going deeper and deeper into consciousness. One way of talking about it is the Siddha Rameshwar way, his model, where below the physical world and the physical body is the mental world, the subtle body energies, the blisses, the understanding, the knowing, cognition, thoughts, images, dreams. And deeper than that is the causal body, where you're aware, but there's awareness of nothingness. And deeper than that is access to the bliss body, the love bliss body, Turiya, the fourth state of consciousness. And each of these rooms, you might say, in our spiritual mansion that we enter into can have all kinds of amazing experiences, bizarre experiences, frightening experiences, including all kinds of Kundalini experiences, with Kundalini rising up the spine, getting blocked in the heart or in the stomach, tons of energy circulating in the body, with women especially around the womb area when it starts, and then upwards into the heart, and then into the head. These energies can run rampant, and with them are associated visions of light, sometimes of sound or nada. And I get letters all the time, emails all the time from people that tell me about their experiences and wondering if they're going nuts or these are valid experiences. You see, in spirituality, we're getting more and more sensitive to who we are, all of who we are, not just the body, not just the mind, not just the emotions, not just what we see and feel and hear. But we're going deeper and deeper into consciousness and accessing levels that other people don't talk about. I get another amount of letters that say, this is the only place I can talk about these experiences. I don't talk about them to anybody else. Nobody understands them. But I can tell you about them, because you understand. Yeah, I do. They're out-of-body experiences. They're experiences of astral projection, of beings appearing before you. In our house here we have our own special black hole of consciousness into which items disappear all the time and are never seen again. Other people can easily flow from room to room in their consciousness, from bliss and ecstasies to huge anxiety and fear, to the feeling of dark energies being attacking. Feeling them in the dark energies in our bodies. Feeling alien forms around us, talking to us or trying to talk to us. I have a friend, Myron Dial, who as a familiar who's with him all the time, almost all the time. And I'll be talking to him and I say, where is he? He calls him Charan. He says, he's over there. I don't see him. Other people don't see him. But he sees him all the time. He's his guide. And Myron is a great artist. He has a whole gallery. You can see it on Facebook. Myron Dial, D-Y-A-L. Take a look at his pages with all of his sculptures that he does and paintings. He's a mystic of the highest order, but he knows nothing about consciousness. He doesn't explain consciousness. He just, what you call it, expresses it as he sees it in art form. Other people go to these states of bliss, of love and bliss so strong that their sense of self is blown away and they just feel carried in the hand of God. Total rest, total peace, total bliss. And then some other places are of explosive negativity or explosive positivity, of explosive bliss, of tremendous energies arising within one that you feel like you're being in the middle of a 50 million volt transformer. Other people see visions. Robert used to see visions all the time. Robert used to be able to tell us things about the future too. The more deep you get, the more access you get to the unconscious and to the pre-conscious and to, you could say, the river of time, where you can go downriver and see what's going to take place. All of these things are possible. All of them are done by people. Sometimes the people feel cursed. They hear things that people don't hear. They see things that other people don't see. They talk about things that other people don't talk about from fear of being called mad. And sometimes they think they're mad themselves. Nobody else talks about this. Am I crazy? Nobody else feels the presence of these other beings, these other presences. Other people don't notice the change of energy in the room. So they feel isolated and alone. Some people are very empathic. They can pick up the thoughts or the feelings of others just by being in their presence. They can also project their own presence so that others can feel them as their own thoughts or their own states. That's how a guru works. 50% or better of the guru's work is just being in his or her presence. Their inner states are radiated, and if you have a relationship with them, you can feel it too. You can feel it. Be around Dia for a while. Be around me for a while. Be around anyone who experiences the extraordinary netherworlds, various worlds that other people don't see. Photon, Flingon, Tryon, and all the other worlds that other people only consider madness or your imagination, your dream. I forget what Myron calls his home world. Dia calls her home world Photon. She's a true mystic of the highest order. I call my home world hell, as did Robert. This crappy world. Who wouldn't want to live on Photon? Or Myron's world of beings of light. But there's a fine line between madness and, let's say, enlightenment. These rare beings that are able to penetrate into these other worlds, like Myron, like Dia. Have because of spiritual practice, or in Myron's case, because of epilepsy, have an open access to these other worlds that is very hard for a normal person to get into, even if they practice for a lifetime. It's like there's a very thin boundary between their world and these other worlds. There's a very thin boundary between their world and any other person that they're talking to or with. And it's easy to enter Dia's world or Myron's world just by watching his art, or being in his presence and showing in his art in his gallery. You can feel it in me too. You can feel my bliss, you can feel my emptiness, you can feel all of those feelings. People tell me that around me, they feel this emptiness or this calmness, whatever they feel. It's a feeling they generally don't feel. But you have to be careful who you talk to about these states you go into. And you'll go into them more and more, Enrique. You'll have them more and more. So will you, Max. So will you, Imra. Matthew, of course. Charlie in Spain is having a hard time. He can barely move because he's in bliss all the time, in ecstasy. He can hardly wait to come back here. But you can focus too much on the alternative worlds rather than on finding out who you are. Finding out who you are means abiding in and following the I am sense. And everything else comes secondary to that. Following the I am sense downwards by loving it. By inviting it to enter your heart. By flirting with it and coaxing it. By telling it, I love you. That's the self, telling the self it loves itself. And it gets attracted by that and begins to manifest in your life as bliss, as love, and as these visions, and as these energies. So don't fear the energies. You're not going mad. You're going sane. You're going into deeper parts of yourself and owning deeper parts of yourself which you've never seen before. On the other hand, because the boundary is so porous between you as you get more subtle and deeper into yourself, the same kind of medications that help psychotics or help neurotics can help you. Sometimes the boundaries get so flimsy that these worlds are present at the same time as your regular world is present. And there can be a fear of that, of going mad, or a fear of, or exaltation that you've got something that other people don't have. And sometimes these experiences can become very powerful. And although you're increasingly sensitive, you may not be increasingly able to cope with the intensity of these experiences. And the same medications that are used to treat psychotherapeutic people, like anxiety states, depressive states, or hallucinatory states, can help you temporarily firm up those boundaries so that the visions don't bother you. And you can stop the medications and go into that area when it's appropriate. Myron takes multiple medications to prevent the epileptic attacks that bring on his visions into the other world. And when I was a psychotherapist, some of my favorite patients were the paranoid schizophrenics, because they had direct access to levels of consciousness that normal people didn't. Normal people that grew up in normal type lives and didn't have that porousness between their self-boundary and other people's boundaries, or else between their own boundary and other worlds that are within these worlds. There's magic all around us. I wasn't aware of it. Robert would talk rarely about this magic. Sun Sinin talked about it. He said, after you've obtained emptiness, after you've obtained the first enlightenment state, you go through a long period of returning to the marketplace, which is filled with magic, with visions, with voices and insights and understandings. He calls it the world of magic. And for him it took many years to come back. He imagined he was flying astrally from Zen master to Zen master, mountain to mountain, all kinds of things. We all have these visions depending upon how strongly we practice. That's the next subject I'm going to get into. But I'm just saying, many things can happen to you. Some students have, when they first start coming here, begin having, especially women, extraordinarily energetic experiences of energies in their bodies, especially from the area of the womb or the vagina, the lower part, and then having those energies charge up into the heart, getting blocked somewhere. This is very, very common. It's less common among men. I think men are less sensitive to the subtle body. But it happens to them too. The more you practice, the more you want to find these energies, the more you'll find them. They're relatively easy to find. The subtle body is only one half step underneath the conscious mind. We directly access it in the dream state, the subtle body. For example, in my dream state, there's a mansion I go to. It's an old creaky thing with hundreds of rooms and interconnecting passages. And I go there all the time. I've been going there for years. And each time I go there, I find different denizens, residents, and have different experiences, different understandings, different visions. Different parts of the mansion are visited. Sometimes it's a frightening place, and sometimes it's a place I just want to fit in and become like family there and meet the people on their own basis. But I always come back awake with a new understanding, a new resource. But some people can visit these places while they're awake in this world, and it becomes confusing. Some people, especially the empaths, when they feel another person's emotion, they don't know whether it's them, the other person's emotion, or themselves. They get confused because they lack interpersonal boundaries when it comes to emotions. That's why it's never a bad thing to do psychotherapy while you're also doing spiritual work, if the psychotherapist has done spiritual work him or herself. Because a lot of stuff come up, and that kind of person can guide you and say, hey, great, fantastic, have you tried this? And then tell them to try something else. I had a psychotherapist like that for 7 years who helped me that way, in between the personal human and the subtle body work, as well as analytic psychology, as well as medications at times when I was depressed after Robert died. So don't ever think you can't go to a psychotherapist, but the psychotherapist has to be one with a spiritual background that understands spiritual states. Otherwise they'll try to talk you out of them, or treat it as abnormal, or give you medications to control that which should not be controlled. One of the hardest things to learn in spirituality is to stop controlling and let things rip. Don't suppress emotions. Don't suppress desires. Let them all come out. Talk about them. Hide nothing. Hide nothing. Be open to everything. Be open to everything inside and everything outside and talk about it. Hide nothing. Reveal it to all. Announce yourself to all. It's part of self-realization to be able to talk about yourself, to be able to express yourself, to unbridle the fears, unbridle the anxieties, the desires. As civilized people, we've learned not to feel certain things, not to express certain things. Political correctness, we shouldn't say things like that. Lots of things we shouldn't say in public. Even in private, just keep it to yourself. But don't do that, don't hide anything. Become brash. As Nisargadatta said, I have no principles. What I say may deeply offend you, because you have principles. I have no principles, he said. I say what I feel. I say what I think. And let the shit fall where it may. I encourage you to do the same. Be brave. Speak your mind, speak your heart, and speak your emotions. Allow yourself to feel anger, rage, and express it. Now to the other topic. When I started spirituality back in 1967, that's when I decided to leave home and go for it, become a monk. I practiced in the most brutal way on myself. Sitting 10 hours a day, practicing who am I, in the way Ramana taught of just going, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Going deeper and deeper, not like that, not that quickly, but just going deeper and deeper, taking the light of Ajna, of the third eye, and taking it downwards and filling up the dark insides of myself, having the space spread out, getting more and more lit. Who am I? Who am I? 10 hours a day, with breaks for exercise or to clean the house. But all kinds of divisions developed. All kinds of pains enveloped me. I could feel the Earth's magnetic field. I could feel the electricity of wires in the wall. With the tips of my fingers, I could locate the lines. I could see in the dark, or in at least darkness that other people couldn't see anything in. The light of the moon scared the hell out of me and had a very chilling effect on me. So in the evening, I had absolute darkness in my room, my bedroom. Sometimes when the room was full, I had to hide in the closet and sit up in strong zazen in the closet for 3 or 4 hours before I could come out and try to go to sleep. When I was out during the daytime, I could feel the life force in the trees and in the grass. I could watch the grass trope as the sun moved across the sky, and as a cloud obscured the sun, how the blades of grass would sort of go like this, close down until the sun came out again, and then they flash open. And this is, although it was exciting, it was also fearful at times, because I had Kundalini energies going up my spine that were so incredibly painful. It felt like a pencil being shoved up my spine and being caught in the heart area, and it wouldn't get through the heart area, just hurt and hurt and hurt and hurt, until finally it would start going upwards past the heart into my head, around my face, and coming downwards. And then I could feel it circulate. But all of this kind of madness would go on at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, like clockwork. I could feel the self pulling me inside, down, 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 down into nothingness. And then I was confronted with a great white light that I was falling into, and it would terrify me. I wrote to Philip Keplow, my teacher at the time, and he said, don't worry. As long as your body is alive, you'll live. As long as your body is alive, no matter if you fall into the white light or anything like that, you'll still live. But I feared death of going into the white light, and I fought it every time. Now I would never fight it. If it happened again, I would never fight it, because I know what it is. It's the self that was beckoning me. The self was beckoning me and saying, come unto me. I am the light of consciousness. I am the light of yourself. I am the power of yourself. Come to me. But me, little Ed, didn't know that. All that I knew was terror. And all of this was happening because I was practicing so powerfully, with so much will, so much effort, so much pain of sitting, yet my legs were in pain. If I had practiced more gently, more lovingly, I doubtlessly would not have had the number of experiences I had in such a short period of time, which scared the hell out of me sometimes. But I've learned over and over again to be gentle with myself. The self does not like a yang attitude. It likes a feminine attitude of being invited. And your self, as the searcher, doesn't like a yang attitude of the self pulling you into itself. It too wants to be invited, not forced. So you can put in effort, lots of effort, but do it in a relaxed way. Do it in a way not of forcing yourself to see yourself or find yourself. But when you do find that sense of self, to invite it into your heart. Don't stare at it directly. Just watch it out of the corner of your eyes and invite it into you. Dear self, I see you. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not going to punish you or criticize you. I'm just going to love you. And love that feeling in yourself of the I am. And Charlie, don't get distracted by the bliss, by the love, by all the energy states. Focus only on the I am. And the bliss and the energy states and the love will take care of themselves. Don't get distracted away from these phenomena of the subtle body and causal body. You want to find the I am, which goes all the way down to Turiya. So don't get too distracted with these superficial phenomena of bliss and love. You want to go to the real thing, the total love, bliss, the feeling of knowingness of who you are, the realization of self when the self shows itself to you because of your constant love for it, your constant attending to it, your constant abiding in it, your constant inviting it to become into you. With that attitude, the self cannot help but reveal itself to you. At first as the other, and then the recognition of the self as that other, as you, as self, as God, as you. But be gentle. Do no harm, especially to yourself. And those scary states will not happen as often. And if those scary states are happening to you, it's because you're developing a lot of power. And you have to try to not control them. Don't be afraid of them. Just let them be, let them take you over. They're not going to harm you. You don't have to fight them. You don't have to wrestle with them. You don't have to encourage them or discourage them. Just abide by the self, and everything will take care of itself. Now, let's have a chant. Let's do one of my favorite chants, which is Krishna Das. The third one down, Krishna Das on the left-hand side. Nama Shivaya for 12 minutes. At the count of 4, press the little triangle. Let the music come into you. Let it take you over. This is your way of practicing. Relax, relax, let go, let go, let go. And when you hear the music, invite it into you, invite it into your heart. And let Krishna Das do his thing there and ignite your heart's flame. In the meantime, Dia, can you come onto camera, please? Okay, the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's talk about something else. A lot of people in the spiritual world think that talking about the subtle body energies and the bliss and the healing energies is a lot of new age crap, and it has no part in true spirituality. Ramana didn't talk about it. Robert didn't talk much about it at all. Therefore, it's not really spiritual. But if you really knew Robert, you spent a lot of time with him during the week, and you knew that he was not of this world. There was other worlds that he was visiting. It wasn't just nothingness. It wasn't just the self. He was always in tune with other mystics that were dead. Jesus, Ramana, Ramakrishna, and the others. They would come to him often, frequently in visions. And I'm just saying that the subtle body energies are not to be discouraged, they're to be encouraged. Because just you're concentrating on them means you're learning to live on a deeper level of yourself than the normal person does. The normal person who is preoccupied with paying the rent, work, taking care of the kids, in other words, physical things, and thinking about what's going to be happening next week or what's going to be for dinner. Preoccupation with this world instead of the magic around them. As Dia says, the worlds within the worlds within the worlds. There are many worlds out there depending on your sensitivity to them. There's the world of the subtle body and the astral bodies. There's no world of the causal body. There's Myron's world of demons, ghosts, and of familiars that guide him through the various planets and depths of his unconscious mind. There's worlds of the mystics all around us. Magic. Magic is always there. I know you can feel it. Maybe you don't see it directly, but you can feel it. You can feel it as a quickening that happens within your own physical world, within the room that you're in. You can feel the excitement, the expectation that something is happening and it's good, but you don't know what it is. But that's there all the time. You can feel it all the time. And gradually you can begin to feel the states changing in the room. You can feel the energies changing in the room. Becoming positive, becoming negative, becoming anxiety, becoming bliss within the room itself. Not only your sense of self, your energetic presence, but within that which is around you. Because the protoplasm, which is you, the food body as Nisargadatta would call it, is the one that's creating the world. There's no doubt about it. There may be an external world out there. That's common to all of us, but insofar as we inhabit a body and a mind, this physical apparatus here, that physical apparatus is what is used as an instrument to create our world as well as our brain, giving it information, giving it form. So in a sense you create the world that you live in. And that creation of the world you live in has an impact on the external world that other people live in. And when you become sensitive enough, you can get into somebody else's world. You can get in an animal's world. You can feel like what it is to be a cat, or a puppy, or a snail, or a worm. You do astral projections that way. Rather than walking to another room, you can take the form of a spider or a cat and walk into that other room. I used to really enjoy becoming a cat and feeling what it was like to be a cat, especially when the cat was licking my hair when I was laying in bed the last few minutes before I get up. Lick, lick, lick until my whole head was wet. And I got into her, I forget what her name is right now, but I could feel her. I could get inside of her form, feel what she was feeling with no thought. Feel the bliss she felt, feel the love she felt. And I practice that a lot with cats, becoming a cat, feeling them, getting to know what it's like to be a cat. I could become a cat whisperer now. Bring a cat to me, I'm going to talk to it. And that cat's going to tell me all about you guys. Or Fudgy will tell me about what Dee is really like. Or dog Fudgy. I'm going to get into Harold's camera, and the camera will tell me what Harold is really like. By the way, Enrique, I hope that job comes through pretty soon. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to work on it. I hope it's not too late. Anyway, Muktananda used to say, what is the use of a spiritual path unless you have a lot of experiences on it? Experiences that encourage you to go deeper and to continue on. Like his experience of the Blue Pearl, his experience of his teachers, Yogananda's experience of his teachers appearing before him when they're thousands of miles away, or foretelling the future. All this magic is available to you. And if it's not directly available to you, everybody knows, those creatures who are mystics, and they can sort of guide you, be a shaman, to help you find those magical worlds. Magical ways of manipulating the reality around you to produce our ashram in LA. Work on it. Are there any questions? Oh, one more thing. Muktananda used to say, like I said, what's the point of having a spiritual trip that has experiences and to keep you interested, to keep you occupied? There are a lot of teachers around that are Kundalini teachers, like Spiro, David Spiro up in San Francisco, Jan Esman in Copenhagen, and like Muktananda was. And they have a lot of experiences. The students that are with them have a lot of experiences, but their emphasis is on practices that enhance the Kundalini. Repetition, breathing in different ways, and moving energy between the chakras energetically. Starting at the base of the spine or starting at the heart, moving it up and down, bouncing the energy between the various chakras, in line with kind of breathing, holding your breath, and then that kind of many different kinds of exercises, which involve both the imagination of the subtle body, moving energy around, feeling the Kundalini, and pranayama techniques, breathing techniques. And you can generate a lot of Kundalini experiences and a Kundalini awakening, which is awakening to the Shakti aspect of the self. But you can do the same thing and much, much, much more, just through love, intense love. Whether it's love of the guru, love of another pet person, love of a cat, or love of the self, as you practice following the I Am with love. Love can do as much as all of those other spiritual practices, because from my point of view, love is the impetus, it's the mover, and the energy moves in call to that love rather than doing it the other way around, of directly working with the energies. Like Charlie in Spain is always gets diverted into paying more attention to the bliss and to the energies than to the I am, and I have to get him back to the I am all the time. Because I think that the Kundalini people are focusing too much on the epiphenomena, the generated phenomena, rather than the cause of the self. The cause, which is the self, which is the love for the self, and attracting the self to the surface by loving. Your love, whether it's for something or somebody else or for it, attracts it because love is its basic nature. And the more you love, the more it comes to you, whether it's God or the self or yourself, or the self loving the self, or yourself loving another person, or loving the guru, or loving a student, or loving a cat. That way, I think my way is more gentle than the Kundalini way. You have just as many experiences, but they're probably less frightening. And always it's supported by love, by the gentleness and support of love. So, that's it. That's the total message I have today. Now, do we have any questions? Do we have any answers? Do we have any comments? Does anybody have weather as warm as here in Los Angeles with 70 degrees? And sunny? It's sunny. Does anybody else have that? What's it like in Toronto? Okay, Enrique, yeah, I got you. All right, I got you. Oh, you have a question, or you got that same kind of weather? Max, what's it like in Austria? Yeah. What's it like in Austria? What's it like in Toronto? What's it like in Edinburgh? Yeah, I know. What's it like in Brussels? Okay. Shoot. Mark has a question. Mark asks, isn't the I am intricately linked with the blissful feeling? Yes, everything is linked to the I am. At first it meant, as we begin to go deep into ourselves, it is felt as blissful feelings. As we focus on the I am, the bliss arises, the energy arises. But as we go deeper and deeper, it goes into the unconsciousness, and then deeper than that into the love bliss body, which is just love, just bliss, and also the feeling of knowingness, that you know what the I am is, you know what you are, who you are, what you are. There's a strong sense of being like a mountain of knowledge, of finally understanding what knowledge itself means, not just knowing something or knowing a lot of things, but knowing what knowing means. So pure love and pure knowingness are part of the final realization of the self, and knowing more and more and experiencing more and more are part of sinking into that deeper levels of self. So new stuff is constantly being exposed. Anything else? Anybody else? You're going to have to turn on your microphone. Oh, sorry. Your microphone is not on. Okay, Mark. Generally, yes, but not always. Sometimes it gets a lot more and more deep and more profound, more and more world-shattering before it settles down. It's like normally we're a 100-volt lamp, a 100-watt lamp, but the process of deepening develops us eventually into a 1,000-watt lamp. And we're taking 1,000 volts of this light and of this power for a long period of time that almost shatters us and breaks the body as it's reforming and remelting the body into different configurations. But then you get used to it. And when your nerves and the meridians inside of you that conduct the energies are used to the 1,000 watts, then it gets subtler. Then it gets subtler. But I can't speak for all people. I mean, this is my experience. Others have different experiences. You should never believe me or anybody else when they're telling you about their own experiences and saying that you can experience it the same way. You probably won't. We're all full of shit here. Here, Answer asks, I want to ask you about the spiritual heart on the right side of the chest. I once fell into it and felt like a baby. Is this Turiya? Is this near Turiya? No, that's the beginning. That's more the subtle body experience. That's just the tippy tip of what you will experience later on. The baby experience is wonderful, but you can also feel bliss, you can feel emptiness, you can feel fullness, you can feel energies. All of these things, at least you know how to do it. You've got an entree, you've got the gateway there to do it, to feel the I am, and to stay there. Any other questions? Any other answers? Okay, let's have one more chant and then about 20 minutes of sitting. We'll make this a longer satsang. And when we sit, because we have about 10 times as many men coming as women coming, we'll do it in the Chaitanya style, which is to focus on Imra and Diya, and then for them to focus on us and to lead the sitting after the chanting, and then one by one, as you feel like it, just leave. Okay, the next chant will be, near the bottom, on the left-hand side, the Arati Sadguru for 9 minutes. We'll play that and then sit for 20 minutes, and then just leave as you feel like it. Pay attention to Imra and Diya. Let's just stare into their eyes. Feel their energy. Feel the feminine energy, the divine feminine, Kali and Radha. Okay, at the count of 4, Arati Sadguru. 1, 2, and 3, 4. And mute your microphones.